Recall the structure of Daniel 8 through 12. According to theme, Daniel 8 and 9 pattern together. They will thus be treated as a unit, and in fact, we will see over the course of our study of Daniel 8 through 12 that they do indeed function as a unit. Daniel 8, the details. When the he-goat was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven. Verse 8. And out of one of the 4 horns came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. Verse 9. Which horn or direction does the little horn come from? The west horn? The north horn? The east horn? Or the south horn? 4 horns. The 4 horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. The south horn, the east horn, the north horn, the west horn. 4, right? The little horn and its conquests. The little horn toward the south, toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. 4 also. That can't be a coincidence. Perhaps the 3 conquests are the remaining 3 horns. So toward the south is conquest of the south horn, and toward the east is conquest of the east horn. That means the little horn is either from the north horn or the west horn, for out of one of the 4 horns came forth a little horn. Daniel 8:9. And equivalently, it can be said that that means the pleasant land is either the north horn or the west horn. But which is which? How can we tell? Daniel 8, the context. The key to discovering which horn the little horn came from, and also which horn the pleasant land is in the context of the vision, the sanctuary, the camp of Israel. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them. Exodus 25:8. Every man of the children of Israel shall pitch by his own standard with the ensign of their father's house. Far off about the tabernacle of the congregation shall they pitch. Numbers 2:2. And on the east side toward the rising of the sun shall they of the standard of the camp of Judah pitch throughout their armies. And those that do pitch next unto him shall be the tribe of Issachar. Then the tribe of Zebulun. Numbers 2:3-9. On the south side shall be the standard of the camp of Reuben, according to their armies. And those which pitch by him shall be the tribe of Simeon. Then the tribe of Gad. Numbers 2:10-16. On the west side shall be the standard of the camp of Ephraim, according to their armies. And by him shall be the tribe of Manasseh. Then the tribe of Benjamin. Numbers 2:18-24. The standard of the camp of Dan shall be on the north side by their armies. And those that encamp by him shall be the tribe of Asher. Then the tribe of Naphtali. Numbers 2:25-31. And these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon and Kohath and Merari. Numbers 3:17. The families of the Gershonites shall pitch behind the tabernacle westward. Numbers 3:23. The families of Merari, these shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle northward. Numbers 3:33-35. The families of the sons of Kohath shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle southward. Numbers 3:29. But those that encamp before the tabernacle toward the east, even before the tabernacle of the congregation eastward, shall be Moses and Aaron and his sons. Numbers 3:38. What are these standards or ensigns? The standards of the camp of Israel, according to Jewish tradition. The lion of the camp of Judah, the man of the camp of Reuben, the ox of the camp of Ephraim, and the eagle of the camp of Dan. Standards of the camp of Israel, Kale and Dilitz. Our source. According to rabbinical tradition, the standard of Judah bore the figure of a lion, that of Reuben the likeness of a man, or of a man's head, that of Ephraim the figure of an ox, and that of Dan the figure of an eagle, so that the four living creatures united in the cherubic forms described by Ezekiel were represented upon these four standards. Jerome Prado, in his commentary upon Ezekiel, chapter 1, page 44, gives the following minute description according to rabbinical tradition. The different leaders of the tribes had their own standards, with the crest of their ancestors depicted upon them. On the east, above the tent of Naasson, the firstborn of Judah, there shone a standard of a green color, this color having been adopted by him because it was in a green stone, viz., an emerald, that the name of his forefather Judah was engraved on the breastplate of the high priest. Exodus 25:15 and sequences. And on this standard there was depicted a lion, the crest and hieroglyphic of his ancestor Judah, whom Jacob had compared to a lion, saying, Judah is a lion's whelp. Towards the south, and above the tent of Eliezer, the son of Reuben, there floated a red standard, having the color of the sardius, on which the name of his father, viz., Reuben, was engraved upon the breastplate of the high priest. The symbol depicted upon this standard was a human head, because Reuben was the firstborn and head of the family. On the west, above the tent of Elishama, the son of Ephraim, there was a golden flag, on which the head of a calf was depicted, because it was through the vision of the calves or oxen that his ancestor Joseph had predicted and provided for the famine in Egypt. Genesis 41. And hence Moses, when blessing the tribe of Joseph, i.e. Ephraim, Deuteronomy 33:17, said, His glory is that of the firstborn of a bull. The golden splendor of the standard of Ephraim resembled that of the chrysolite, in which the name of Ephraim was engraved upon the breastplate. Toward the north, above the tent of Ahiezer, the son of Dan, there floated a motley standard of white and red, like the jaspis, or as some say, a carbuncle, in which the name of Dan was engraved upon the breastplate. The crest upon this was an eagle, the great foe to serpents, which had been chosen by the leader in the place of a serpent, because his forefather Jacob had compared Dan to a serpent, saying, Dan is a serpent in the way, an adder, Cerestes, a horned snake, in the path. But Ahiezer substituted the eagle, the destroyer of serpents, as he shrank from carrying an adder upon his flag. Johann Friedrich Karl Kale and Franz Dilitz, Biblical Commentary on the Old Testament, the Pentateuch, Volume 3, Edinburgh, T&T Clark, 1865, p. page 17 and 18. The standards of the camp of Israel, the biblical texts. Judah is a lion's whelp. He couched as a lion and as an old lion. Genesis 49:9. Reuben, thou art my firstborn. Genesis 49:3. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock. They are the 10,000s of Ephraim. Deuteronomy 33:17. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path. Genesis 49:17. The little horn. Daniel 7 and 8 through 12. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, towards the south, and towards the east, and towards the pleasant land. Daniel 8:8 and 9. So we have the little horn, and we have the pleasant land, and we have the 4 horns, 2 of which are known, the south horn and the east horn, having been destroyed by the little horn, and 2 of which are unknown, the west horn and the north horn, as we don't know from which comes the little horn or which is the pleasant land. And finally, we have the standards from the sanctuary of the wilderness wanderings and the camp of Israel. So which is which? How can we tell? The text we have read, Daniel 8:8 and 9, is Daniel's vision. But there is the angelic interpretation of Gabriel also, Daniel 8:22 through 24. Now that the great horn being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Daniel 8:22 through 24. A king of fierce countenance is the little horn, and the mighty and the holy people is the pleasant land. Daniel would have understood these as being the Jews and Judea, respectively. Notice the descriptor of the king, of fierce countenance. The phrase fierce countenance only occurs but twice in the Old Testament. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee, the Israelites or the Jews, from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation of fierce countenance. Deuteronomy 28:49 through 57. Note this nation of fierce countenance. As swift as the eagle flieth. And one of the standards of Israel, Dan's standard, the standard of the north, is an eagle. The little horn is from the north horn, which makes the pleasant land the west horn. Another quite natural name for the little horn is then the king of the north. Not surprisingly, he appears under this name in the book of Daniel, in Daniel 11. A quite natural question then arises. Why is the Jewish nation represented by a bull? The 4 horns to the 4 winds of heaven. The Jewish nation being the west horn, a bull. The wages of sin is death, Romans 6:23. We have 2 choices, both of which are illustrated in Daniel 9:26 and 27. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, literally, upon the wing of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Either 1. We accept Christ's, the Messiah's, sacrifice on the cross of Calvary, or 2. We become the sacrifice, as illustrated in the destruction of Jerusalem and the Jewish nation. The Jewish nation rejected Christ and his sacrifice, so they became the sacrifice. Notice God's perfect picture. In Daniel 8, the little horn, the eagle of the north, destroys the pleasant land, or Judea, while in Daniel 9, desolation of Jerusalem and the temple comes upon the wing of abominations. Verse 27. Obviously an eagle's wing. Note, the horn is Rome, both in its pagan and papal united and divided phases. Returning to where we left off, with the 4 horns and the little horn, recall that Daniel 8 and 9 is Daniel's vision, and Daniel 8:22-25 is the interpretation of that vision. The little horn is the king of fierce countenance, Rome. The pleasant land, Daniel would have understood as the promised land or Judea, is connected with the mighty and the holy people, which Daniel would have seen as his people, the Jews. This then is the part of Daniel's vision which describes the interaction of the little horn with the 4 horns. And this is the equivalent in the angel's interpretation for the king of fierce countenance. In the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full. Whose kingdom? What transgressors? Who is this talking about? Going on. Mighty. And mighty. Destroy. And destroy. A chiasm? Looks like one. The chiasm of Daniel 8:23-25a. Layer 1. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance, and understanding dark sentences, shall stand up. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Note, understanding dark sentences, and his policy, knowledge, understanding, wisdom, shall cause craft, deceit, to prosper. Deceptive, an accurate description of Rome. Layer 2. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. The mighty and the holy people. The mighty and the holy people are the Jews, as we have mentioned several times. Layer 3. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall destroy. Looking at layer 2 and 3 together, there are a few things that jump out. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, miraculously. The little horn is attached to the he-goat. His power is not his own, but derived from the he-goats. And on one level, the he-goat is Azazel, or the devil. So the little horn is powered by demonic power. No wonder he destroys miraculously. But the text is specific, His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Was the destruction of the Jews by Rome miraculous, demonic? Finally, layer 4. And shall prosper and practice.